Hello, all, and welcome to the Gestalt IT Rundown, your weekly look at the IT news of the week. I'm your host, Rich Stroffolino. Ordinarily, I'm joined by the man, the plan, the canal himself, Tom Hollingsworth. Unfortunately, he's traveling this week, so I am flying solo. Wanted to highlight the big news of the week. Just came out yesterday, and I think really is going to dominate a lot of conversations in IT and spark some interesting conversations. And that's the announced acquisition of X-IOh by Violin Systems. This is pretty major news and very surprising from everyone that I've talked to, since the acquisition was announced. If you're not familiar with X-IOh, I mean, they've been around for I don't know, forever. They're the maker of their big product is their ICE storage array, ISE. They just released their G4 all-flash array version of that just less than a year ago, I want to say. And so they've done a substantial amount of restructuring to make the company profitable again, done a lot of hard work around that to reorganize that side of the business, that kind of old iron side of the business. So really surprising to see them get announcing the acquisition. Really surprising to see Violin Systems. If you're not familiar, Violin Systems is kind of the reborn version of Violin Memory, which declared bankruptcy not that long ago. They were really early into the all-flash game, probably too early if you ask just about everyone, particularly people that bought storage arrays. They've emerged from there. They're funded by Quantum Partners, which has bags and bags of George Soros money. So clearly that's what they're using. I had spoken to their CEO a while back, kind of when they were first kind of coming out as Violin Systems, post-bankruptcy. And that was kind of one of my big questions for the company was, how do you reassure customers that you're going to be around, that, you kind of have a little bit of runway and when they're going to be making these big purchasing decisions for memory or for storage. And his answer was, we have bags and bags of cash. Always a good answer, and also some compelling product down the pipeline, et cetera, et cetera. So now with the purchase of X-IOh, I think it's really interesting that they are, they're getting that legacy storage customer base. They're getting and more importantly, they're also getting, I think, a lot of the purchasing relationships that go along with that. Something that Violin Systems maybe doesn't have. I know they were growing their customer base substantially last time I talked to them, but X-IOh, again, a lot of times in technology, legacy is seen as something that drags you down. In this case, that's a lot of relationships to leverage and really take advantage of. So I think that's one of the major reasons, aside from just the existing customer relationships as well, just kind of those channels to get storage out there. The big challenge for them is, X-IOh is kind of seen as being, okay, I don't need the fastest. I need something that's relatively affordable, that's going to be reliable. It's not exactly the game that Violin Systems has been playing right now. So I am interested to see if this is a shift for them down market or if they're counting on being able to convert, a small percentage or just a given percentage of the existing X-IOh customer base and moving that, to kind of their higher tier, their tier 1, tier 0 kind of flash storage that they're really pushing, or if, they're going to have maybe an expanded product line going forward. I know they have some announcements coming up relatively soon from everything that I've heard, so it'll be interesting to see what Violin Systems does. On the other side of the equation, I've been talking a lot about this ICE storage array. X-IOh recently announced another side of their business getting into the edge computing market with their X-IOh platform. And this is really what was exciting me and a lot of people about the company and what they were doing. This was essentially, I believe it's a 3U rack-mounted, kind of hyper-converged solution. But what it really excels at is having a ton of PCIe lanes and allowing you to put in either a ton of NVMe or what I think is much more interesting, a ton of expansion cards. So you can put in some NVIDIA Volta accelerator cards in there. You can put some of those weird Intel Phi cards in there. I don't know why you would do that, but they say you can do it, so I guess that's a feature. Really interesting stuff going on there. It's super portable. It's meant to be kind of sitting on the edge of networks, being able to do real-time streaming analytics and then kind of send that back to the mothership. And we've seen them kind of deploy this at cell towers to do kind of instant analytics, right as information is coming into there. And I can see a lot of use cases. That business is getting spun out to its own business called X-IOh. So really interesting that Violin Systems is not getting, this new cutting edge emergent business for X-IOh. Instead, what they're getting is what right now constitutes the bulk of X-IOh's revenue, right? And I'm sure that's, important to the investors for Violin Systems. However, the really exciting stuff, this new emergent edge network stuff is all going to be happening with this new X-IOh spin-out company. So, very excited to see what they'll be announcing there. And it should be fun to watch, and I'm interested to see how they will expand that. If they're going to be putting more of a management layer on top of that, because right now, it's kind of a HCI solution in name only. I really don't think that management component is quite there. It's this really exciting physical platform that has a lot of expandability. It'll be interesting to see now that it's own company is if they're going to try and make this like HCI proper, or if they're going to expand into more edge solutions, maybe go into some IoT stuff. Or more specific IoT stuff, management perspective that way. So a lot of directions that X-IOh could go. All of them kind of exciting. Not so much new directions for what's left with X-IOh, except a ton of revenue, a ton of customers that Violin Systems is now acquiring. It'll be incumbent on them to obviously spread that to new parts of their business. But be that as it may, still really big news, big shakeup. Bye-bye, X-IOh. It was nice knowing you. We'll see you with Violin Systems going forward. If you want to find out more about the X-IOh platform and why I'm kind of jazzed about it, you should really check out X-IOh's recent Tech Field Day presentation. They were at a storage field day and had a pretty in-depth session on that when X-IOh right around the time X-IOh launched. As you can go to techfieldday.com to search for X-IOh, and you should be able to find that right there. The other big news of the week, this isn't necessarily news of this week, but we spent a lot of time on the Tech Field Day side of our company at Commvault GO last week. It's Commvault's annual customer conference, third annual. It was down in Nashville. Customer conferences are great. You get lots of training, lots of certifications, but there was actually quite a bit of announcements and a pretty big shakeup by Commvault in what they're doing. The biggest announcement for me was backup and recovery as a service. Now, every company that makes either storage or boring backup and recovery solutions wants to tell you that they're now a data management or a data company or a data management company, what have you. And this is Commvault kind of living up to that claim as opposed to just, reshuffling some deck chairs here. This is a totally new offering. It's cloud native, really interesting stuff. And I think it'll really resonate with a totally new customer base. I don't know how much their existing customers are going to be using it, but an interesting move by them. They also announced a new analytics suite called Commvault Activate, it's all part of a pared down product catalog from Commvault. They basically just have 4 offerings: backup and recovery, some advanced management of that, their analytics with Activate, and then an orchestration tool as well. And I love the fact that they are. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The 4th offering is their. I believe it's called. It's their HCI appliance-y thing. Hyperflex. No, it's not Hyperflex. I forget what it's called. But they announced it at Commvault GO last year, and I remember covering it quite a bit there. So a much more focused Commvault, and one that I think is making some moves that are consistent with being like, hey, we're not just doing the same thing that we've been doing, relying on our existing customers, and we're saying we're cloud native, we're saying we're new and exciting, but we're really not. No, they're actually making some substantive moves to really live up to that. And you can check that out for some even more coverage of that at techfieldday.com. We have a ton of coverage from our delegates, ton of presentations. Our delegates actually got kind of a sneak peek at a lot of the embargoed announcements. So really, really cool stuff and interesting as well. And then you can also check out, we're doing Tech Field Day this week, starting today and going through Friday of this week. And then we'll be at NetApp Insight the week after that. So a lot of interesting stuff. So check out techfieldday.com. We'll have some coverage and posts on that, also covering some of the announcements and some of the stuff coming out of those events at gestaltit.com. We'll be back next week covering more of your IT news of the week every Wednesday, and this will be coming out at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. Just search for Gestalt IT on YouTube. You can find us there. Until next time we meet, I'm Rich Stroffolino, wishing you and yours to have a super sparkly day.